To kick off, allow me to introduce you to our first speaker. Dennis Steele, he's a co-founder of Podium. It's a customer communication platform for businesses who interact with customers on a local level. Today, he will share you some of the best-kept secrets and show you some strategies that allowed Podium to become one of the fastest growth companies ever in software as a service. Come on now, Dennis.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dennis Steele, and I'm the co-founder of Podium. And Podium is a customer interaction management platform that helps businesses communicate better with their customers. I started Podium about 5 years ago with my co-founder, Eric Ray, in a small apartment office in Provo, Utah. And in that short amount of time, we've been able to grow to 700 employees and almost 40,000 customers. And today, I'm excited to share with you guys a process that helped us achieve that amazing growth and that took us from being a single product to an entire communications platform that is helping businesses communicate with their customers. That process is striking a healthy tension and balance between your sales team and your product team. So the first step in that process is to create a tight feedback loop between product and sales. And at the beginning of Podium, this was really easy because it was just Eric and I. And a lot of it had to do with our daily schedule. We would wake up at about 6 a.m. in the morning, we'd go to the gym, and then we'd take our MVP product and we'd go sell it door to door, business to business in Utah. And we'd walk in, we'd sit down with these business owners, and we would talk to them about the problems they had and how our software could help them. And we'd sign up as many as we could. And we did this all day long. We would then go back to the office and work well into the night, taking this feedback and everything we learned, and we built it into the product. And then we would take that product out the next day and do it over again. So this sounds like a really simple process, and it is. But this is still the key foundation of how we build product today at Podium. Every executive, every product manager, every developer, they spend one-on-one time with customers every single week, continuing to validate that we're building value into the product and that we're going to have product market fit. And this is really important, especially in the early days, because you get faced with a ton of challenges and a lot of opposition. So I'll share an example of that. Eric and I, at that time, we were looking for advice anywhere we could, and we looked up to a lot of different entrepreneurs. So we attended a conference with an entrepreneur that we pretty much idolized. And we were really excited to go up to him after the conference and get some feedback from him. So when he was finished, we went up to him, and we gave what we thought was a killer pitch of Podium. We were excited to get his feedback, and he got really excited. His eyes got wide. He leaned forward into us, and he said, "Guys, I'm so concerned with your business model. You're selling to the wrong people. Your product doesn't do enough." And he went on and on and on and told us we were going to fail. And so Eric and I were just completely crushed. We basically went home and said, "Well, that was fun. What do you want to do now?" But there was something that we knew that entrepreneur didn't. And that was we had dozens and dozens of customers that were paying us every month. We had the customer validation. And so if you want to be an innovative company, there's going to be so many times when people tell you what you're doing is wrong, and you're going to face that opposition. You're going to have to go stand alone. And the only thing you're going to have to rely on is that customer validation. It's something you cannot skip. And it's the only thing that's going to bring you that confidence. So the next step in the process is once you figure that out, is to stay focused on what's working. And so at this time of the company, we started to get some traction. We're about $1 million in annual recurring revenue. And we started thinking maybe we could become a big tech company one day. And we started looking at some of the tech companies that we idolized, and we noticed that a lot of them went through a accelerator in the Bay Area called Y Combinator, which you've probably heard of. And so we applied. And we didn't think we really had a chance to get accepted, but to get into the program. But 2 weeks later, we got an invitation to fly out to California. So we fly out to California. We're sitting in the waiting room. We're a little nervous to go into our interview. And we're surrounded by brilliant teams. And we asked the team on our right, we said, hey, what do you guys do? And they said, well, we're engineers from MIT, and we're launching a new type of satellite into space. And we said, wow, okay. And we asked the team to our left what they did. And they said, well, we're from the MIT of Russia, and we're developing a complex artificial intelligence platform. We said, wow, okay. And then both teams asked us what we did. And we said, well, we're from Utah, and we're helping businesses get reviews online. And so we were thinking two things in that moment. One, should we even be here? And two, maybe we should pivot to one of these bigger ideas, something that's a little more sexy. And anyways, later that day, we got accepted to Y Combinator. And we were super stoked. But the first 2 weeks, we were still a little insecure about our product. We were looking at everything around us and thinking, man, maybe we should pivot. And so we started to think of all these ideas of how we could change our company, change our business model. And we took these ideas to one of the partners. We sat down with him. We started telling him, hey, we know a way to be relevant, and maybe we'll even get a TechCrunch article on us. And he stopped us. He cut us off. And he said, are you guys insane? You're doing $250,000 a week in new contracts. Just keep focusing on what's working. You have a real business. And it sounded obvious at the time, but it's really hard. You look at the companies around you, and it's so easy to get distracted and to take your eye off of actually what's working. But that's the only way to hit those early milestones. And so we doubled down. We focused on the product. We built more value into it. And we figured out how to take it to market. And 3 months later, we became the highest revenue company to ever graduate Y Combinator. So the third step, now that you've had a little validation and you've focused on building that core value, it's then putting it to the test and starting to scale it. And so for us, at that time, the team was pretty small, and it was bringing on a VP of sales. That was the pivotal moment. And the VP that we brought on was an amazing salesperson. He had already taken a SaaS company from 1 to 10 million in annual recurring revenue, so we knew he would come on and create a huge impact. And he did. He came on, he built a big sales team, and we started distributing product faster than we ever had, which was amazing. But with all of that came some really harsh feedback on the product. When you get product out to that many people, it starts exposing all of your weaknesses and all of your shortcomings as a product. The best thing about this is the product team responded and took it as a challenge. And they figured out how to build more value into the product and fix the customer needs that we had. This empowered the sales team to go out and do more sales. And it started to create this interesting dynamic between our two most important teams, product and sales. And we started breaking sales records. We started accelerating our growth. And this all culminated to March of 2018, where we set the most aggressive sales goal we could possibly think of for that month. And it felt like the future of the business relied on us hitting this goal. It was right before our Series B funding, and we felt like if we didn't hit this goal, we didn't really know what was in store for us. And we had communicated this goal out to investors and publicly, and so we had to hit it. So fast forward, 2 days before the end of the month, we're more than $1 million away from our sales goal. And it just seemed completely impossible. And all the teams, some people started to doubt, but the teams also were able to rely on the culture we had built over the last year and a half of coming together and hitting goals. So at 11:30 on the last day of the month, all the teams were on Slack. We're all chatting each other, pushing each other to the end. And at 11:30, we crossed the finish line together. And it was a huge celebration. We still talk about it today as this important part in Podium's history. Because it was much more than just a sales win. It was a company win. And it fed that culture that we were creating. And it was also a proving ground that now was the time for us to do something more, something bigger. So the last step in the process is once you've done all these things It's now to have the confidence to expand your vision and to start growing exponentially. And for us, at this point of the company, we had all of this success with one product. That's it. We had gone from 0 to 25 million in annual recurring revenue with a single feature product. And so for us, the next step was to become a multi-product company, become a platform. And if you go back to those ideas that we had in Y Combinator, they were good ideas, but that was obviously not the right time. We didn't have the right resources. It would have been distracting for us. We wouldn't have been able to build that core value and build out the culture, but now we have the process. And so we went back to our roots. And for that first product that helped businesses get reviews, that took us about 2.5 years to build, to do it right, to go through that process. And so we put it into play again. And in 6 months, we launched our second product. And it launched and grew faster than our first. And we realized that we could take that product cycle and do it over and over and over. And so over the next 2 years, we launched 4 additional products, all launching extremely successfully and building a platform. And so this is the key to hypergrowth. It's building growth into your culture. It's building growth into the DNA of your business from the very beginning. It's building teams that can push each other to new heights, that feed off each other and challenge each other. And so now here we are. Podium has this machine. It's going to take us well into the future, well past 40,000 customers, and hopefully help us to become a global, world-changing company. Thank you. Happy to chat about it after. Please connect with me after. Thank you.